New tonight, San Jose's East Side Union High School District is warning its students about the recent flu outbreak, writing that if you have a fever or if you have a major uncontrollable cough, please stay home. More than half of the country is seeing a spike in flu cases. John Blackstone reports the situation in California is deadly.
Emergency rooms are packed. Ambulances are being redirected, and medical officials from Chicago to Orange County, California.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta, Georgia has requested this emergency advisory for the aforementioned counties in Northern California, Alameda, Contra Costa, Marin, Monterey, Napa, Sacramento, San Benito, City and County of San Francisco, San Joaquin, San Mateo, Santa Clara, Santa Cruz, Solano, Sonoma, and Stanislaus. It has come to the agency's attention of a novel strain of influenza with highly unusual symptoms affecting hundreds of patients across the listed counties. Hospitals in the region have reported patients to display the following known set of symptoms: nausea, projectile vomiting of blood, bleeding of the orifices, motor skill dysfunction, acute panic, confusion, and nervous system failure. Only known transmission route at this time is via bodily fluids. Little is known about this strain of influenza. However, doctors across Northern California have said the symptoms onset appeared quickly, with a swift duration and acute intensity and contagion. The CDC and PG&E asks the public to not use telephone lines, cellular or landline until further notice, as to not jam wires needed for emergency use. Have N95 masks readily available for use. If you or an immediate loved one begin to come down with an illness with symptoms similar to those described, please self-transport to the emergency room without haste. If you cannot, you are permitted to use 911. The Alameda County Sheriff's Office has ordered a shelter-in-place mandate for all Alameda County residents effective immediately, with any violators subject to arrest. Please cooperate with authorities. Stop the spread.
This is the National Early Warning System. Your local broadcast station was interrupted to bring you the latest on an existing health emergency in your area. With this being a health emergency, we ask that you wash your hands, refrain from touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Please stay tuned to this station, via television or radio, for the latest information on this evolving emergency. This is KPIX5, serving the San Francisco Bay Area. We now will resume normal programming.
This is KPIX San Francisco. This is KPIX.
PG&E and the California Highway Patrol is asking the public residing in Northern California to discontinue use of the 911 emergency system unless it is an imperative emergency until further notice. The system has been overwhelmed to dysfunction. The California Highway Patrol is advising that all citizens in need of law enforcement assistance to call their local police department's non-emergency number or sheriff's office. All health-related emergencies should be addressed via an emergency room visit. Do not call 911. The telephone lines must be kept open for urgent use. Repeated calls.
The Oakland Police Department and Alameda County Sheriff's Office asks the public to stay away from Children's Hospital and Research Center and Kaiser Permanente Oakland Medical Center on Broadway in order for authorities to carry out a police operation. Please do not congregate near these hospitals as they are overflown, and exists a mandatory shelter-in-place order by the Alameda County Sheriff's Office. Any violators of this order will be subject to arrest, as well as the risk of infection of the influenza. Stay home. Do not go to 52nd Street or Broadway. Oakland police ask for your cooperation. Civil unrest and some rioting have been reported in the area of these medical centers. At this time, all health-related emergencies must find an alternate location for treatment. All rioters are subject to arrest. BART trains have been halted at all stations and all lines will not run until further notice. Caltrans will not run as scheduled until further notice. The sheriff's office is responding to the situation as best as it can under the strained circumstances. Stay tuned to media outlets for further information and real-time updates.
This is the National Early Warning System. Your local broadcast station was interrupted to bring you the latest on an existing health emergency in your area. With this being a health emergency, we ask that you wash your hands, refrain from touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Please stay tuned to this station, via television or radio for the latest information on this evolving emergency. This is KPIX5, serving the San Francisco Bay Area. We now will resume normal programming.
Demonstrators in Oakland have spread out across the city, some on the move, while others have gathered downtown where we've seen a number of smashed windows. And it was a frightening scene in San Jose tonight as a car drove into the crowd.
KPIX Civil Bulletin 1-87546 issued at 0300 hours, 36 minutes.
The Centers for Disease Control has established further symptoms of the novel influenza, now referred to officially as Anguish One. Those who have contracted Anguish One have been observed to exhibit nausea, vomiting of blood, bleeding of the orifices, seizures, acute self-harm, homicidal and suicidal ideation, sensory overload, intense aggression, high fever, pale skin, uncontrollable screaming or crying, and nervous system failure. The CDC now recommends you or any immediate loved one of yours that shows symptoms of Anguish One to begin quarantine measures without haste. Means of transmission has been discovered to not only be through bodily fluids, but by means of the host attacking a person in their immediate vicinity, as well as themselves. The Centers for Disease Control is at an absolute loss as to the exhibition and swiftness of onset of these symptoms, an anomaly in the history of medicine. Dozens of casualties have been reported in downtown Oakland as a result of these attacks by patients of Anguish One. All municipal activities for the foreseeable future have been suspended. All public transit such as AC Transit, BART, Caltrans and
This is a mandatory quarantine order issued for the state of California until lifted by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Anguish One has proven itself to be an unrelenting contagion of unprecedented proportions. Symptoms exhibited have an uncanny similarity to that of a zombie creature, although patients are not undead or are reanimated. Mitigation of these symptoms have only been found to be achieved through lethal force. Patients have been observed having a primal suicidal urge, engaging in self-harm, only to then attack any person attempting to assist them through their crisis. When the patient attacks, they bite on the victim and tear at their flesh, fatally injuring them by dismemberment with strength obtained through this virus. If the victim does not die, they will begin exhibiting symptoms within 45 seconds of exposure. This virus has not been recognized to be airborne. If you or your immediate loved one have come into contact with an infected person or begin to show symptoms, Quarantine yourself as far away from the rest of your family for the foreseeable future. Centers for Disease Control is expected to declare a pandemic of Anguish One within 48 hours. For your health and safety, take the following precautions. Wash your hands. Do not touch your eyes, nose, and mouth. Wear an N95 mask to avoid transmission. Lock all doors and windows. Barricade yourself as much from the outside world as possible. Take a couch or table and make a makeshift barricade on your door. Close all blinds or curtains on windows. Turn off all lights or electricity or heat in your home. Gather in the centermost room of your home. Have a ration of food to keep you nourished for 2 weeks minimum. Expect civil authorities to be occupied and to not respond to you.
This is the National Early Warning System. Your local broadcast station was interrupted to bring you the latest on an existing health emergency in your area. With this being a health emergency, we ask that you wash your hands, refrain from touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Please stay tuned to this station, via television or radio for the latest information on this evolving emergency. This is KPIX5, serving the San Francisco Bay Area. We now will resume normal programming.
This is KPIX5. We are interrupting all regular broadcast schedules until further notice to bring you around-the-clock coverage of the outbreak of the novel influenza, now being called Anguish One by the Centers for Disease Control. At this hour, I wish I could bring you better news. We simply do not have it. We here at KPIX5 have never seen the information wire so active reporting on a crisis. As much as this is overwhelming, this is the facts as we know it. Patients started showing symptoms in the San Jose area on May 26. As soon as the contagion spread, the patient numbers grew almost exponentially, leaving health authorities stunned. The virus quickly spread to neighboring counties and then eventually to Oregon and Washington state. This has taken place in the span of less than 48 hours. The governor has issued a health emergency, and as the symptoms of the virus manifest, one glaring observation is evident. These symptoms of Anguish One are eerily similar to that of a zombie. However, these patients are not dead, attacking and cannibalizing anyone immediately in their vicinity, which brings about perhaps the gravest constitutional crisis of our time. Do authorities use lethal force to quell this unrest? Or must we... Hold on. Excuse me for a moment, folks. We're getting reports on the wire now. Yes, we are getting reports. One moment. The Wire is reporting of a plane crash in the Eugene, Oregon area.
Thank you so much for joining us. This is involving multiple homes. Now that we get upwind of where those flames and the smoke coming from, we can get a very good view. Ken Bastida joining us again in the newsroom. And Ken, we can clearly see this is a whole neighborhood on fire here.
Yeah, Alan, I can see the chopper shots that you're looking at as well. These are homes that are above the area. If you know the area off of Interstate.
This message has been issued by order of Oregon Emergency Management Agency. At approximately 8:20 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Springfield Police and OEMA offices in Salem received reports of a passenger airliner down on the Willamette River in Springfield, just south of the Main and A Street bridges. The explosion has been exacerbated by already existing red flag conditions for the Great Basin and Willamette Valley, sparking a rapid spreading wildfire. Homes adjacent to Doris Ranch have already been engulfed. Springfield Police and Oregon Emergency Management is ordering an immediate evacuation of the following areas: in Springfield, Washburn, Doris Ranch, East Springfield, Thurston Hills, Glenwood. In Eugene, Laurel Hill Valley, Fairmont, University of Oregon Campus, Downtown Eugene, City of Goshen, and Howard Buford Park. Leave with haste. There is little time to leave your homes to escape this inferno. Winds are coming out of the west-northwest at 40 miles per hour. Evacuating residents are ordered to go north using Highway 126 and Interstate 5, towards Salem. Wear an N95 mask to protect yourself from smoke. Burning jet fuel is extremely hazardous to inhale and will lead to death within minutes of exposure. Seeking refuge may be more difficult due to the Anguish One virus outbreak across Oregon. Make prior arrangements if possible. Please drive with extreme caution. Do not panic. Panicking will make the situation worse. A particularly dangerous red flag warning is in effect for the Willamette Valley in the Great Basin until June 1, 12 p.m. Stay tuned to media outlets regarding updates for this dual emergency.
All right, we just want to update you in case you have not heard, just turning on and don't know what you're looking at. This is not a made-for-TV movie. This is the real thing. Black billowing smoke right now. Again, lots of billowing smoke, dark smoke, and workers...
Chris, a firecracker. Something's on fire. Shit.
Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has declared a pandemic of the Anguish One novel influenza virus for all 50 United States including overseas territories, such as Puerto Rico, U.S. Virgin Islands, and Guam. Anguish One's rate of spread is unprecedented in medical history. Within 48 hours, the United States has recorded a staggering 1,500,000 cases of the virus, with over 930,000 fatalities. A fatality rate of 62%, making Anguish One one of the deadliest contagions known to man. The unrest resulting from this outbreak has brought the nation to its knees. Especially so in the San Francisco Bay Area, the origin of this virus, which has now mutated to airborne transmission. Symptoms of Anguish One include nausea, projectile vomiting of blood, bleeding of the orifices, pale skin, high fever, seizures, acute self-harm, homicidal and suicidal ideation, intense aggression, sensory overload, increased strength, uncontrollable screaming or crying, and nervous system failure. Transmission is through airborne proximity or bodily fluids, via means of the patient attacking anyone in their immediate vicinity. When attacked, a person usually immediately succumbs to their assault from the obtained strength from the contagion. If the person does not die, they will exhibit symptoms within 45 seconds of exposure. Symptoms which can only be relieved through lethal force. Police in Oakland, California were forced to carry out a police operation that resulted in scores of patients having lethal force used against them. This was after authorities arrived at Kaiser Permanente Oakland Medical Center and Children's Hospital and Research Center to find patients attacking their caregivers and doctors. Reaction from this police operation has resulted in widespread unrest in Northern California, as demonstrators have taken to the streets decrying what they call a callous unconstitutional massacre. Rioting has been widespread, exacerbating an already swift-acting contagion. Anguish One found its way onto a passenger airliner that took off from Seattle-Tacoma International Airport en route to Los Angeles for a stopover to Prague, only to spread amongst its passengers, resulting in widespread disorder, and the death of a pilot, causing the plane to go down on a Springfield, Oregon neighborhood, sparking a massive wildfire in Springfield and adjacent Eugene, Oregon, and sending toxic jet fuel smoke into the air. The CDC is now ordering citizens of the United States to take the following actions to ensure safety of life and property. Arm yourself with weapons that can enact lethal force, such as a firearm with a large caliber or a blade, such as a sword or knife, or a bat. Barricade yourself from the outside world as much as possible. Lock all windows and doors. Take a table or chair and block and seal any potential entry points into your home. Close your blinds. Gather in the centermost room of your home. If you think you or your immediate family members have contracted Anguish One or begin to show symptoms similar to Anguish One, the CDC orders that you must use lethal force before the patient becomes violent to the point of attacking everyone and everything. We understand this is a difficult decision, as these patients are not undead, unlike their zombie counterpart. However, there is no known cure. You must